Got to be careful with Johnny Pecker.
Yes!
Double doink.
That's a great setup, Bob.
And that's a fact.
Good stuff.
Now,
Just listen.
the other side of turnaround to 10 is downturn for what? And that the other side for downturn for what? Downturn for what? It would be teams like, let's just say, the Dallas Cowboys. All right, I've said it a couple of times this week. It feels like the Dallas Cowboys win 12 games every single year and never have anything to show for it. And I can't say 9 to noon championed this or got loud about this after Green Bay dusted Dallas in the first round of the playoffs. This is not your root for other people to lose their jobs leader. But I was relatively surprised after getting absolutely slaughtered at home by an improving and at that time good Green Bay team. But you losing is one thing, but getting destroyed after a 12-win season, and you have home field in this game against a quarterback playing in his first, I believe it was his first playoff game. It's just not supposed to go that way. And McCarthy kept his job. Now, there are some around the league who have told me, about some language in his contract. And like if he had gotten fired after that season, it would have cost this. If he gets fired during the course of this season, it's markedly less. Only time will tell Davey with the financial wherewithal or lack thereof with Mike McCarthy, coach of the Dallas Cowboys deal. But when the phrase is invented, downturn for what? The Dallas Cowboys are the first that come to mind for me. And it's the Cowboys turn around from 10 or turn around to 10 from 12. They were 12-5 last year, which included 8-0 at home during the regular season. So think about that. I mean, the lights get bright, the pressure cooker increases, and they wilted like unwatered Bob lilies during a string of hot summer days.
I always love that one.
So downturn for what? Downturn for them. It's not a bang your fist on the table because their quarterback is good. Dak Prescott's a very good quarterback. When you have a very good quarterback, a goodish to a very goodish quarterback, then you can handle business mostly in close games. We and others have talked rather extensively about the chasm or the schism or the conundrum that they have with jacking around with their best players and their money. CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott. I mean, it's picking a fight is one thing. Picking a fight with those guys, and then Jerry Jones, the owner of the team, who also is the general manager, well, he's the one that's always being quoted about, yeah, CD said this, but we think this. I mean, it's it just has to be a difficult situation with Lamb, Parsons, Prescott, Dakota Prescott, and Jerry Jones. But you don't hear Prescott, Lamb, and or Parsons getting loud, but you'll hear Jerry Jones getting loud just a little bit. Now, after the lights got bright and Aaron Jones ran roughshod on them, the question would be, can the Dallas Cowboys go from 12 wins to 9 or fewer and experience the dreaded version of downturn for what? Downturn for what? It's possible. And I'm not going to say it's probable, but for starters, for that to happen, you got to find them 7 losses. All right. So let's find the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh.
Realistically speaking, 7 losses, and let's put CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons and Dakota Prescott, Dak Prescott. Let's put them all up to speed.
So all the right names are in play here.
Yeah. Let's say they're healthy and they're happy. Well, here's how I crafted it. All right. It's like if it was the metaphorical, you got to be right or it's heaven or hell. Here's how I would lay it out because ain't nobody tripping on the lake of fire. So 7 losses at Cleveland, home to Baltimore. I'm going to give them a loss at Pittsburgh with a maybe, all right? Because playing catch-up at Heinz Field.
I always love that one.
I don't even think it's called Heinz anymore. It's definitely a moment you won't relish. But it's a Mike Tomlin coach team. And T.J. Watt is still compensated by them. And, okay, they can figure out Mr. Danger Russ or Justin Fields, but they still got the running back. They still got 3 nice receivers. Got a decent tight end, too, in my man Freiermuth.
This is lame, and we appreciate naming rights. You were talking about Cleveland last week, that they don't have naming rights.
How about that?
They went from Heinz to Acrisure.
Oh, my God.
You can't play catch-up at Acrisure.
I always love that one.
You can't relish the moment or have the mustard come off a pass at Acusure.
I always love that one.
What is Acusure? It sounds like some type of testicle ointment. Any idea what it is?
Well, I mean, I'd prefer testicle ointment to yet another insurance business.
Hey.
Best of luck to Acrisure.
All right, so downturn for what? Cowboys win 12 every year. What's it going to get you? Hey, if they're going to get 10 or below, losing at Cleveland, home to Baltimore, maybe at Pittsburgh. They're going to lose the home game to the Lions.
Ooh, the Kitties. They're
going to lose at San Francisco. So say they start 2-5. They dump McCarthy, and Zimmer takes over for the final 10. Then Cousins lights them up at Atlanta for loss number 6.
Oh my gosh, can you above average at that?
Let's say they split with Philly, lose at home to Diggs, and at home to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, though, is this a 7-9 Cowboys bunch preparing for the 2024? 7-10. Is this a 7-10 or 8-9 Cowboys bunch ready to experience the wrong route with a turnaround to 10? Their offensive line is not as dominant as it used to be. They can't get the money right with CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and Dak Prescott, and Jason Witten is not rolling into the locker room to save the season.
I always love that one.
Oh, by the way, raise your hand if you can name the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys. I couldn't until I searched it 2 days ago, and there goes Nordo. It's the skeletal remains of Zeke. He's returned to tote the rock.
He's back.
Ezekiel Elliott's back in Dallas.
I honestly...
Popping out of the Salvation Army bucket.
I was thinking whether it was Dodal. I think it's Dowdle.
Oh, Rico Dowdle?
Rico Dowdle?
Mm-hmm.
Just go Doodle. Yankee Doodle do.
Right.
I did not know Zeke was back.
It's not Zeke. It's the skeletal remains of Zeke.
Oof.
So he's back there toting the rock. I mean, oh, geez. This might get real ugly down Big D way. Perhaps America's team has become America's ream.
Oh my gosh, can you above average at that?
Downturn for what?
Downturn for what? Yeah.
2 nuns and a goat got on a train in Cleveland.
I don't think is there even a punchline to that joke? Or
No,
that's just it?
And that's what God rest the soul of Dark Star.
I'm afraid to Google that, to be honest with you. It's a work computer.
When you have the quirky gene, there are tentacles of it. And those of us with it, we've been known to blurt things every so often, like somebody gets done with a spot and all of a sudden you hear, oh, I have no idea why I do that. Just like when Dark would sit in the Canterbury press box and it'd be quiet and all of a sudden you hear is, 2 nuns and a goat got on a train to Cleveland. So I've researched and Googled those words looking for the punchline. Ain't no punchline.
So this is a downturn for what? A downturn for what?
What?
I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens.
Whoa!
Oh my gosh.
That's aggressive.
Now we gotta dig deep to get there.
I know.
Because yes, I'm stupidly betting against John Harbaugh, and I'm stupidly betting against Lamar Jackson, and I'm
Derrick Henry,
and I'm stupidly betting against Derrick Henry. I'm stupidly betting against Todd Monken, who did a terrific job in his first year as OC for the Ravens a year ago.
Todd Monken, you say?
but I have an itch.
Yeah.
I have an itch here for the downturn to what? And this was, so Lamar gets his second MVP last year. I know that. Fourth best offense in scoring, best scoring defense last year as well. But I look at some questions that this particular team has, and I'm going to start here. As you look at their depth chart, PA, Morgan Moses, Kevin Zeitler, John Simpson, all gone in 2024. 3 different O-linemen in the mix on the starting 5. Ronnie Stanley always hurting in some capacity. A lot of questions on Baltimore's moving company, even with Derrick Henry, even with.
Sorry. Wait.
So I got to cut that out now?
No, I get 18 seconds.
Do you? Okay.
I think we do, without having to cut it out, right? Come on, get me there in 18 seconds. Downturn for what? Oh, we're at 14.
Just do it.
14, 15.
It's worth it.
Ravens. Downturn for what? Hey, downturn for what?
This O-line's going to have some potential troubles this year, PA. New faces, new chemistry, lack of continuity. Downturn for what?
No, give me a second here. It's first time in this chair I've heard real music in 6 months.
Did something happen to you?
Something moved. Hold on.
Is that Rhode Island on your pants?
Hey, hold on. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. You don't have to take that out of the podcast. The rules are 19 seconds.
I'm not going to take it out of the podcast. It's fine.
God bless Lakeville South and their brass band. Am I ever going to get Quincy Jones and Street Beater back?
It seems unlikely, to be honest with you. Which is why we are so thankful for Lakeville South and their Friday Feast band. How about that, by the way? I mean, the run that you guys went on, what was it, 5 or 6 different bands showed up over the course of that year?
Was that like 5 years ago?
Ooh.
Yeah, that was sweet. Lakeville South was OB, the original band.
I feel like it's even longer than that, but yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, pre-purge. They enjoyed Lamar Jackson with a career-high low turnover rate, PA. An uptick in that potentially erases their league-leading take-give from last year. If the defense doesn't hawk at the same rate, and I'm going to get to the defense here momentarily.
I'm tripping. What'd they win last year?
13 games.
Thank you.
And their defense created 31 turnovers a year ago. That's the most since 2017. It was first in the league.
Ooh.
But the issue for them is they're replacing Patrick Queen. They're replacing Jadeveon Clowney, Roquan Smith starting to get up in age. And you want to talk about skeletal remains, and he's been a good player throughout his career. Their big free agent signing over the offseason defensively, Eddie Jackson. So Eddie Jackson in the mix there. And then Marlon Humphrey, he's having injury issues at this stage of his career. They're relying on some guys now in the secondary. And Harbaugh's, again, I'm betting against Harbaugh, which is stupid because he'll find anybody off the street and make them to play good defense. But the schedule is absolutely brutal. This has to be one of the tougher schedules of 2024. So you mentioned, and I know you're down on the Cowboys. I get it. But they open up at the Chiefs. Week 1 in prime time. You can watch it on Peacock. You can watch it on Mr. Florio's station. Then they're going to absolutely thrash the Raiders. But then they're at Dallas, as you talked about. They host Buffalo, and then they're at Cincy. So 4 of their first 5 games are absolute meat grinders before they host the Commanders. So they also host throughout the year. They're hosting a Philly team. So you got at Chiefs, at Cowboys. They're at the Buccaneers, a playoff team a year ago, and they're at the Texans late. Damn. And then they host a Philly team just before the bye that is expected to be great again. That is a pain in the ass schedule right there. Plus, I'm looking in a division now, PA, where the Bengals have a healthy Burrow.
Yeah.
Are they going to sweep the Bengals again in 2024 like they did last year? I don't see that happening.
Yet.
They split with the Browns and Steelers a year ago. Stefanski, you were up close to it last week. They got to figure out this Deshaun Watson thing, but the Browns are going to be back. The Browns are going to have a badass defense. And so as high as they were in statistical categories a year ago, betting on any sort of regression leads to some regression as it pertains to not only a more competitive AFC North, but a competitive schedule. And so I had it, if we're downturn for what?
Right.
If we're downturning for what, I have them going like this.
So from 13, for a turnaround to 10, we got to go -3. If it's a downturn for what? Downturn for what? I'm thinking we got to go -4. I mean, I think you got to find a 9 and 8 in this thing at the very best.
I think I found it, but you can tell me if I'm out of my mind.
See, I think they're going to win at Kansas City in the first game. And I think they're going to sell a lot of turnaround well past 10 hope. But then I think things are going to settle in that teams like Kansas City, all right, they did they get killed by the Lions last year? I know they lost.
It was
them.
a 1-point loss, I think.
Okay. It's
a lot of drop passes, if you remember. That was kind of a focal point for them throughout the year. Wide receiver issues.
Yep. It's immortality like teams in their very first game of the year. That's when you get them. And especially if they're at home. Because if you go on the road, it's easier to have more of a focus and not have Chiefs Nation and stuff like that and like huge expectations, all loud and everything. But when it's at home, and I think this may be the first game of the season. It
is the first game of the season.
It's Thursday night NBC Peacock terrorism.
Well, the tough thing is the Chiefs keep winning these damn Super Bowls, so their first games at home. Mm-hmm. And it could be very difficult to start the season.
Yeah, I like
under the bright lights.
I don't know what the old point spread is in that game, but I happen to fancy the Ravens in that game. Chiefs by 3.
Well, you're ruining my whole bit then. Because
not really.
For a downturn,
we can find another loss.
I need them to lose at Kansas City.
Could happen.
So then week 2, they're going to thrash the Las Vegas Raiders. So they'd be 2-2 or 1-1.
But it division game.
Yep.
They've lost at home to the Raiders in the past as a double-digit favorite.
Well,
I'm thinking the Chiefs.
Ravens are
tripping. No, I'm tripping.
Do you have the Chiefs schedule?
Hey, all right, 3-2. Turn the show down for what? My bad. Continue.
It's all good.
Rip it.
So I had them losing at Kansas City. I have them beating the Raiders at home. They're 1-1. Mm-hmm. I have them losing at Dallas week 3. So I have them 1-2.
We'll see.
I have them beating Buffalo at home week 4. And then I have them losing at Burrow. Mm-hmm. Then they will beat Washington.
In-state rivalry.
Yes, they will beat Washington, and then they will win at Tampa Bay week 7.
Yeah.
Then they lose at Cleveland week 8.
Yeah.
They take care of Bo Nix and Sean Payton week 9. They get swept by the Bengals this year, PA, in week 10.
That's aggressive.
Week 11, they go to Pittsburgh. They lose the first of 2.
That's aggressive.
They travel across country week 12, and they beat the Los Angeles Chargers in the Harbaugh Bowl on the coast. Mm-hmm. That's a Monday night game. Harbaugh v. Harbaugh. That's going to be sweet.
That's going to be fat.
And you know how... And who knows how good or bad. I mean, there were some things he had to clean up post Brandon Staley. Harbaugh team, they could have one win the entire season, and that's a coin flip type game. It feels like brother v. brother. I have them losing at home to Philly just before the bye.
Yeah.
And then they win 3 of the final 4 at the Giants.
Yep.
They'll win hosting the Steelers. Mm-hmm. They will lose at Houston. Mm-hmm. And then they will win against the Cleveland Browns in the regular season finale. That puts them at 9-7.
Wow.
Puts them at 9-7. So,
9-8.
Or 9-8, excuse me. You're correct.
16-game piece.
Yes, that is correct. So 9-8, that's how I got them there. But if they beat Kansas City, now they need to lose the Harbaugh Bowl. Or they need to get swept by one of the other AFC North teams.
Yeah.
Or they can lose at Tampa Bay. I had that as a victory.
Well, we have battling DFWs. Dallas Fort Worth. We have battling DFWs. Downturn for what? Because I like the Ravens to truck the smallish and fast Cowboys defense.
Okay.
Dallas's defense, Micah's good. You run at Micah and you neutralize Micah. So I like them. I like the Ravens to run roughshod at the Dallas Cowboys.
You think it takes Zimmer a while to get that thing moving? You're saying takes Zimmer a little while to figure that thing out.
I think it's a matchup situation early in the season. You have them losing week 1 or winning. Losing.
I have them losing. Yeah, I have them losing to Kansas City.
You got them getting swept by Cincinnati.
By Cincinnati, and they split with the other 2 in the division.
Yeah, I like that. But I mean the downturn to what or turnaround to 10? The turnaround to 10 makes sense. 13-10. I mean, if you add one of those in there that are kind of dicey.
Let's say they beat Dallas.
Yeah, it gets them down. It gets them
to 10.
Still a regression from 13 to 10.
And they're not winning the division with 10 wins.
You ain't winning the division with 10 wins, specifically that division.
That would be a downturn for what, I believe.
You are listening to 9 to Noon. And lastly for today, this could be something we do at the State Fair. They're fun to find. We are your prognosticating leader, and it involves the NFL, and football always wins.
Football feast.
So the downturn for what, or turnaround 210, or turnaround back 210, like the Buffalo Bills last year were 11-6. Now this may be low hanging fruit. You know, maybe it's a low hanger here. I don't know what their season wins total is. I haven't looked at it, but they finished 11-6 last year. Now for the Buffalo Bills, I'm riding an instinct here, where, I mean, I don't like them to win. I mean, I think they get max 9 wins. And I'm not even playing the schedule game with them. I know simply by following the NFL, their division is better, where New England will be better than it was last year. New England will have a better chance to win 1 or 2 games against Buffalo than it did last year, because Gerard Mayo is going to give them an injection of energy, and they're going to play off that for a little while, and until the metaphorical elasticity of said balloon pops. I ain't thinking New England's a playoff team. I'm just saying they're going to be tougher to beat than they were last year. Well, the Jets got the guy back, so I'm not one that's that's going to play the guessing game as to whether Aaron Rodgers, at whatever age he is, can last the season off the Achilles, and it's the probability the other one pops, stuff like that. They have Aaron Rodgers. He's performing very well in training camp, from what I'm being told, and what a lot of people probably are reading, and that means they're going to be tougher to beat. So the Jets are the Jets or Dolphins to win the division. I don't think Buffalo's going to win the division, but then you got the Dolphins. Dolphins are pesky. Dolphins with Tua and Tyreek Hill and all that stuff, they can explode. They might even have Gabe Davis now. Gabe Davis, the former Bills receiver. I know I left the Covenant. Diggs goes to Houston, but
I thought it was Jacksonville, but I'll see here.
I think it was Jacksonville. Thank you.
It is, yeah.
But still, that's an omission. So they're down those two. I've always felt Gabe Davis was a little underutilized. But
240 targets between the two of them, PA.
Go ahead and tell Diggs you're going to target somebody else more than him in a game.
I always love that one.
That'll ruin your covenant for 2.5 weeks. So maybe it is addition by subtraction for the Bills. There are you can find stories if you search hard enough and use the right keywords from respected National Football League minds who genuinely are trying to sell to me and us that the Bills will be better because they let Stephon Diggs go. They let Stephon Diggs go. Now, that very well could be true. Okay, it's if things were of the toxic variety between Diggs and Josh Allen, and that's something with which you dealt every single day of every practice up to every single game. And look, I mean, it's when Diggs was here, Minneapolis Miracle this, Aqib Talib on skates that. Steph was a wonderful, wonderful player. But, after the Minneapolis Miracle, if you're in the camp that believes some things changed with the individual, or maybe, he had an inflated sense of who he was off the field. Thank you, Geico, for like a commercial he did or something. So if you believe Steph changed a little bit, well, then maybe it never stopped when he went to Buffalo, and maybe he is a divisive force. I don't know enough about that situation to say that.
I have a hard time with that, though, sometimes, because the people that we're listening to sometimes, and I've heard some of it, additions by subtraction. Mm-hmm. Is there any element of that where they at some point off the mic have discussed this with the team and the team's selling that idea? The team is saying we're better off. And ultimately in 2020, the Vikings draft Justin Jefferson, and we know how that's gone. It's been really great.
Right.
But the team in 2019, even despite, maybe some weird press conferences here and there, it was a 10-6 team that won a playoff game down in New Orleans. Diggs is a tremendous player. And all of that, the misery or off-field malaise, under the cover stuff, that definitely sucks. But in the end, on the field, he's a badass. And so I just, the addition by subtraction thing in combination with Gabe Davis, I'm having a hard time, PA, really buying into that. Keon Coleman, second-round rookie, he's going to have to learn. And even Justin Jefferson, you get him in, you get him those reps, and it wasn't until that Titans game where it was lift off, and the rest is history with JJ. But Curtis Samuel, they're going to try and work that in. Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
I mean, I just haven't named somebody yet.
That's the bit.
That is as productive as the two guys they lost.
And the Jets are going to be better. Okay, so they're going to be better than last year. That hurts the Bills. The Dolphins may be better, but I'm just, the farther we get along in this thing, I'm just starting to think the Miami Dolphins have some AFC counterfeit to them, like the Dallas Cowboys. Like you get all wound up over a lot of things that you like and I love and I like and I love, and then they lose in the first round every single year. So, but we'll let that play out because I got a lot of respect for Mike McDaniel. But this would need to be a downturn to 9, and that would be coming from 11. So it's not, it's not that far away. But with Diggs and Gabe Davis gone, Ed Oliver at times he's just been so in and out in his career from Houston. It's when Ed pushes the metaphorical button, he's almost impossible to stop. The Rousseau cat that they have, the Kane, he's been all right. I mean, you can run on him, but nevertheless, is defensively speaking, I think they can be had game after game. Josh Allen's the bomb. Josh Allen's the absolute bomb, passing, running, leadership, and everything. But Nordo touched on it. I mean, if you look at their depth chart right now, Khalil Shakir he's listed as a starting receiver. Now, maybe this is a part of his career where he's just set to take off, all right? Well, then behind him, you got like Mac Hollins and Curtis Samuel, or the skeletal remains thereof. Keon Coleman is very good. Keon Coleman, I heard so many good things about him up to the draft. I just know all those people are going to be right. And Keon Coleman is going to be their number one receiver. I think he'll get the most targets, and I think he's going to have a good year. But see, for them, that tight end situation, they're doing something there. Because Dalton Kincaid is a high-ender. He's going to be a high-end tight end in the National Football League for many years. So he had his first year last year, and it mostly was good. But he was a rookie. But, with that Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid and so many others, the cat that when Jordan Love went his will against LaFleur's, Tucker Kraft, that's right. He was a good one too. Ben Sims, Packers had another one who was on the Vikings practice squad. But Dalton Kincaid behind Laporta is the 1A. And then they have Dawson Knox. So both of those guys can play, but it's not, until we see it or until we know what they're doing, play action off Dalvin's younger brother. The explosive nature of Buffalo Bills football, I just think leaves a little to be desired. Keon Coleman can be explosive, and he's going to be a really good run after catch guy. But I don't trust the defense. I just really haven't for quite some time now. And just losing Diggs and losing Davis, who know how to run that offense, tight ends. You can explode down the field occasionally with Kelsey or Andrews or guys like that, but it's not a consistent bit. Long passes past the intermediate mark to a tight end. but I do like Kincaid and Knox. But I think as the downturn for what goes, the turnaround to 10, I think that the Bills win max 9 games this year. Final segment next.
I can't wait until tomorrow. 'Cause tomorrow might very well be too late.
All right, well, here we go. State Fair 2024, Carousel Park, Great Minnesota Clomp together. 9 to noon kicks off things tomorrow at the State Fair. And our show tomorrow goes 9 to 11. PJ Fleck has the PJ Fleck Show with the Golden Gopher season on the horizon. It's right around the corner. That'll take place at 11 a.m. The Friday Football Feast at Carousel Park on Friday, PH Arch and Nordo. And then we settle into a week of play the following week, which will be the final 45 segments of 9 to noon's inclusion at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. What do we have on tap tomorrow, Mr. Nordquist? And good morning.
Good morning. As you mentioned, we will have a 2-hour show, PJ Fleck at 11, which is going to be awesome to have him on site there. But we'll be together the first hour, just the two of us, and then the bow hunter, Ryan Burns, Gopher Illustrated. He's going to join at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
On Friday, we have Chad Greenway as of now.
Oh, wow.
And we are still efforting a second guest to be named hopefully soon. And then into next week, whether it's guests
for Monday, for Friday, yeah, that's right.
For Friday, a little bit of a meat grinder, but we're going to get through it. Mm-hmm. Monday, Ben Gessling and Alec Lewis. Tuesday, we have Kevin Gorg, General Manager Bill Guerin of the Wild.
Wow,
Alan Horton. And we just got to work that out with him because of the Bill Guerin-related time slot. But he's in the mix, voice of the Timberwolves. Mr. Russo, Michael Russo.
Sweet.
Wednesday, Lavelle, Sinekin, the great NFC North debate. Mm-hmm. Bob Motzko, Gophers coach.
We had a Lions guest, friend Jason Hatch, biggest Lions fan I've ever met. He was on the sideline for the game at Ford Field last year. Traveled in, got tickets, the whole thing. He had to back out because of a work obligation.
Well, but here's the deal.
Yeah,
we got to do it Wednesday now instead of Tuesday.
Oh.
Does that make said Lions fan potentially available on Wednesday if the Tuesday clipping penalty has been cleared?
Man, well, hopefully we don't get turned down for what?
Exactly. And then into Thursday, it's Gophers game day, by the way, and we're going to have, I'm still working on one other, but Mike Grimm, voice of the Gophers, is going to join us. Anthony LaPanta next Friday, the Feast, PA in Charge, and more to come. So it's going to be a busy week, 9 to noon out there.
And we hope to see you out there to say hello. You're very dedicated with your listenership, and every opportunity we get to listen or to meet and greet with the fan base, that's fantastic. So see you tomorrow at the State Fair, right? For Nordo, I'm Paul Allen. Time for that wrap on the show.
Thanks to Casey's for the 9 to noon show wraps. Casey's Food and Fuel Rewards, elite pizza, drinks, everything you need is at a Casey's. So go to one today. Tomorrow, we'll see you at the fair. Feel free to stop by and listen. Do it on a dare. We're happy to see you. We're never uncouth, but don't feed the animals inside the booth. Less of the vermouth, I prefer olive juice. And on-the-fly radio gets dirty if too loose. Until 8:45, the window stays shut. We're resting our voices to yell, "Downturn for what?" Gonna be fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's the sights, sounds, and smells. Even mouth guitar guy. Tomorrow with Burnsy, and we're rolling into Fleck. It's Friday the Feast, and Greenway on deck. Charge, of course, well, he's late to the show. It's the yearly excuses of State Fair traffic flow. But please join us. Make sure to say hello as we cruise our way through 63 segments in a row.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.